All right. It's actually been a very long time. I think the last time we actually did any kind of bonus episode was 3 years ago on the podcast. And a lot has changed since then. First of all, the team has got through a bit of a change. There used to be three of us. Now there is majorly myself and the person on the B mic. So, Goze, why don't you officially introduce yourself to our audience?
Hello, everyone. This is me officially introducing myself to everyone on our audience, our Energy Talk podcast audience. My name is Chico, and it is a pleasure to meet everyone in the world listening right now.
So while Goze's voice might be new to you guys, it's actually not new to me. Goze has actually been on the podcast for the better part of about 3 years now.
Yep.
Initially, Goze came on as an assistant, believe it or not, and then
And I was still in school, by the way. Still doing my undergrad in engineering.
Yeah, so a lot has changed since then. For the last 2 years, essentially, Goze has been the primary edit producer of the podcast. A lot of the episodes that you've seen have either been sourced directly by Goze, and he has been the one to put together the outline of our conversation. So he's been a tremendous addition to the team, and he's going to be very important to what we have going on next. So, Goze, can you just tell them like a bit about what we've been discussing in the last few days?
Right, absolutely. So, as everyone knows, the podcast has gone through quite a couple of hoops. We've been interviewing a lot of people, usually at random and usually in the broader clean energy space. But if everyone checks our page and notices what we've been doing over the past year and a half, you notice that we've been consolidating all of our episodes and all of our conversations around clean energy, and specifically clean energy within the sub-Saharan African region of the African continent, right? Covering everything from development finance and catalytic financing all the way to specific startups and technologies, from e-mobility all the way to even infrastructure, right? So without revealing too much and without killing all the mystery that's going to be coming, this year promises a couple of things. We're going to be interviewing investment managers. We're going to be interviewing startup leaders who are making waves on the African continent. And we're also going to be introducing a couple new products that are going to be shaking things up, really. So we're going to be taking a very unconventional spin to how we process data, how we actually visualize and analyze data, and ultimately how investment information actually gets pushed out on the continent. So not going to reveal too much, still going to keep the mystery, but it's going to be an interesting 2025 coming up.
Yeah. So one thing that I do want to pull back the mystery on, so some of you already know this, but myself and actually Goze work full-time jobs. So the podcast is what we've been sacrificing nights and weekends on for the last year. Last year, when as Goze noted, we took a focus on clean energy in Africa, we had to step away from some of the funding opportunities that were presented to us. And we decided to fund the production ourselves, largely because we really believed that these stories are worth telling, and we couldn't really find the right kind of support at that time. That gamble has turned out to be quite worth it and quite revealing. So we found some partners that we'll be working with for the majority of this year, but we're still looking for more. As I said earlier, we're still working full time, and we are trying to make this project a lot more sustainable without going into too much of the nerdy details around this. Last year, we experimented with a few things, and one of them was a newsletter. And one thing you noticed in a few weeks is that we're actually changing the name on our newsletter, because as the geniuses as we are, we named the newsletter without checking if the domain was available. So we are going to be walking back that mistake very publicly and changing the name of the newsletter from Clean Energy Africa to Clean Tech Africa. Pretty minimal, but like operational oversight, if you will.
Absolutely.
But on that note, though, we're pretty excited about this year. There's a lot we want to do. There are things that are confirmed in our pipeline, and you'll be hearing Goze a lot more on the mic. And,
so get used to my voice. This is my voice. It's deep and a little bit shallow.
Yeah, so Goze will be on the mic a lot more. And one thing we're going to be aiming for is to produce a lot more episodes. Last year, because we were self-producing, we were very limited in terms of capacity of what we could actually produce. But this year, we're looking to produce a lot more than last year and be a lot more active and actually engage with you, the listeners. So a few of you have actually emailed us and reached out to us on LinkedIn, whether it's to tell us you love the podcast or to ask if you can feature your stories on this show as well. But if you find you're doing something that's within our scope, you're operating and you're making impact in the clean energy space in Africa, we would love to see if it's a story you want to cover on the podcast. And if not, we just want to hear from you. I think feedback and community building is going to be one of our largest focuses of this year. And yeah, we're just really excited to get going. And I don't know what the frequency would be on this like bonus episode check-ins, but we'll try to do it a little bit more often. But yeah, this is just initial check-in for 2025. And myself and Gozie introducing ourselves. Maybe in between, you'll meet a few more of the partners and people that work with us on the podcast, because it's actually not us two, but we'll just keep the mystery to the next few weeks at least. So yeah, that's it from me. Gozie, any closing thoughts from you?
Any closing thoughts? I mean, 2025 is also being it's being revved up as a year of a lot of uncertainty. One of the major things that we're also going to try to do this year is demystify a lot of that uncertainty and pretty much push narratives that might be a little bit controversial, but haven't gotten like a lot of traction in the past couple of years. But obviously, with all of the uncertainty brewing around, not just around Africa, but around the world globally, we want to position ourselves as the prime storytellers covering every single aspect of the energy transition, both within and without. So looking forward to all the interesting people that are going to speak, and looking forward to championing the conversations in Africa.
And one thing to close off on is something we'll be exploring a lot this year, as Gozie kind of hinted at. We'll be exploring what an Africa first energy transition actually looks like. I think that's something that globally there's been a lot of big news on the energy and climate space, and a lot of it doesn't really bode well for the African continent in general. But as we've done on the podcast, we said a lot of projects and a lot of people who are doing really amazing work. And yeah, so we're going to exploring that from a lot of different angles, probably different from what we've done in the last few years, but I think it's going to be very interesting, and I hope you come along for that journey. So
absolutely.
So this is me, Olu, signing off, and Gozie as well.
Signing off.
Yeah. See you on the next episode, should be on Monday. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye now.
Bye, everyone.